Spider-Man flashes back to memories he doesn't have of events that apparently happened a year ago. He sees himself in a war he doesn't remember being in. But in truth, he is on a date in the present day with Mary Jane Watson, his wife. He assumes it was all just some sort of nightmare, though can't help but shake a feeling that something is wrong. Elsewhere, Captain America calms down a bit, and Nick Fury leaves. Steve Rogers checks in on Jessica Jones, who he remembers is pregnant, then advises her and Danny to get elsewhere, to safety in the Baxter building, bringing Luke Cage along with them. Everyone is in danger. Jessica Jones decides to call her lawyer. Matt Murdock arrives home to find Peter Parker waiting for him, asking about memories of the Secret War. Murdock is skeptical until they get a voicemail from Jessica Jones about Luke Cage. The two heroes agree to go investigate, yet as they leave Matt's apartment, they spot the attackers, low-level villains named Diamondback and Scorcher, clearly on the payroll of Latveria. The villains panic at the sight of two superheroes and manage to get away, but the experience is more than enough to convince Daredevil that something is clearly going on here. Outside of the hospital, a still irate Captain America informs Nick Fury that he too was attacked earlier today. The villains were no match for Steve Rogers, but it was enough to clue Cap into what was going on. Daredevil and Spider-Man arrive, and Cap admits to the two they were all involved in a secret war a year ago. Before they can elaborate any further, Daredevil senses something in the distance, but has trouble believing it at first. Yet it is true. An army of villains stand before them, ready to strike. At the X-Mansion, Logan too is attacked, but he notes the attackers are not interested in the X-Men, only him. Wolverine wonders just what he's gotten into this time. Meanwhile, the heroes in New York City are nearly overwhelmed, but luckily help is quick to arrive. The Task Force, informed of things by those sent to the Baxter building earlier, are able to help turn the tide. Suddenly, the villains all collapse, and the woman that attacked Luke Cage appears on the field of battle. Her name was Lucia von Bardas, former Prime Minister of Latveria. She was supposed to be dead. They did this to her, and now millions will perish because of it. The villains rise up around her, unable to stop Lucia, who was shielded from the attacking heroes. Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four is able to deduce that Lucia has used these villains to create a bomb. His wife, Sue Storm, begins to protect the others with her force fields, while Captain America orders the heroes to start attacking the now helpless villains, in a hope of breaking the chain reaction unfolding in front of them. 6 hours later, the woman who was part of the Secret War, revealed to be named Daisy Johnson, codenamed Quake, is debriefed by angry S.H.I.E.L.D. workers. They don't understand how a young woman was given the highest security clearance possible in S.H.I.E.L.D. They don't understand anything that's happened tonight. Daisy simply informs them to check the satellite footage, giving them the exact satellite, its make and information, knowing that it was perfectly placed to record the entire thing. They did indeed watch the footage, but had trouble believing what they were seeing. Nick Fury stood before a ranting Lucia and only smiled, and her confidence suddenly vanished when she realized something was wrong, at which point she dissolved into nothing. The energy dissipated while her body was destroyed, leaving only the technology that empowered her behind. Daisy was there to greet Nick Fury and apologized for being late, while the rest of the heroes and perhaps one surviving villain recovered. Daisy explains that she had been given powers due to genetic damage and tampering at the hands of her father. She's not a mutant in that she doesn't have the mutant genes, but is able to generate seismic waves with her body that resemble earthquakes. She is an expert at using her powers, such that she can aim them with such precision that it was easy to damage Lucia's power source, leading to the woman's quick death. Daisy points out that the weapon Lucia was using was the exact sort of thing Nick Fury was worried about in the first place, and why he conducted the Secret War to begin with. 6 hours before this, the heroes surround Nick Fury and Daisy, demanding answers. Cap demands that the truth be revealed when the X-Men arrive with a very angry Logan in tow. Nick explains to the gathered crowd that everything that happened in this attack was revenge for the Secret War, where Cap, Black Widow, Logan, Spider-Man, Daisy, Fury, Luke Cage, and Daredevil all got together to overthrow the Latverian government and assassinate its elected leader. A stunned group of superheroes learn how they were brought to this rogue country exactly 1 year ago. They fought their way through Castle Latveria, blasting through supervillain technology each were already familiar with, as they had all been used on American soil. The heroes confronted Lucia, and Nick Fury ordered Quake to level the entire castle from which Latveria had always been ruled. The superheroes were outraged at this news, both in the present but also back then, as hundreds of innocent people lost their lives in the ensuing chaos. Fury insists that he was right to do this, that she was and did attack America, but the heroes are still furious, especially knowing that Fury then proceeded to wipe out all their memories of the whole incident. The only reason Captain America remembers anything in the first place was due to some routine anti-brainwashing testing he went through a few months before as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. He recovered his memories back then and had already confronted Nick Fury about it shortly after. But as for Logan, who was already sensitive about his memories and mind being messed around with by government forces, as they have done so to him for decades. But also, he is specifically mad that Nick Fury did this, because Nick Fury knows his history about as well as anyone other than the X-Men. Wolverine is left inconsolable and points out he probably actually would have been fine with the entire Secret War if Nick Fury just had the courtesy not to mess around with his memories. As Logan repeatedly stabs Fury, the others try and hold him off. Daisy manages to stop him in a single blow, instantly exploding Logan's heart with a tremor. She threatens the others, pointing out she can do far more worse and permanent damage to each of them, and then contacts the real Nick Fury. The one standing before them is an artificial construct called a life model decoy. The real Nick Fury speaks to the gathered heroes over the radio and explains that he understands why they're mad, but reassures them all that this secret war has cost him his political career. No matter how much clout as a spy and soldier he may have earned over the years, he just conducted a crazy illegal war, and there's no coming back from that. They will never see or hear from him again. He also mentions that they are superheroes, real heroes, more than he will ever be. But maybe one day they will understand the world the way Fury does, and understand why he had to do what he did. Daisy thanks the still baffled heroes, saying she learned a lot from them, even though they don't remember teaching her. In the present day, the new head of S.H.I.E.L.D., a woman named Maria Hill, is outraged that Daisy has no idea where the real Nick Fury is hiding, but they have enough psychics to know she is telling the absolute truth. Hill rants at Daisy, saying that Fury is a war criminal now and forever, and kicks the young woman out of S.H.I.E.L.D. for good. Daisy decides she's okay with that, and figures she might want to go back and finish high school, to a completely unamused Maria Hill, who leaves. Quake gives one final, sad look at an image of Nick Fury, but as she prepares to leave the helicarrier, she is surprised, yet pleased, when she is contacted with new orders from a familiar voice.